I wish I had the mental capacity to plan this out right now because I feel like this is a very important message. But I just need to share it in a messy way, and that's the only way I have in me right now to share. But it's an important thing, I think, to realize. And when I realized it, I kind of snapped out of what has been a very, very deep, dark hole. So, that realization is that the year 2080 is going to come. And whether I'm here or not, whether I am in any sort of state of being happy or sad or anything in between, I will be with my thoughts and I will be in my head. And I'm the only person that I can guarantee being with at that time. And in every moment in between, I'm the only person I can guarantee being with. And this made me kind of freak out when I was in a really dark place, because I was like, I don't want to live here. If I have to be with my thoughts like this for the rest of my life, this is a prison. But then I realized, like, it's a privilege to be able to build your own home in your mind. And if you have the wherewithal and the capacity mentally to work on yourself and learn about yourself and take your life seriously, you should. You should invest time in learning about yourself and thinking about how your own thoughts work. Because at the end of the day, when you are lying in your bed every day for the rest of your life, you will be with you. And if you don't like that, if that doesn't spark great joy in your heart, I don't know what to tell you, man. I think that it should. And it doesn't necessarily for me. I'm not saying I'm all up here high and mighty, but it at least excites me to know the capacity of my thoughts. That, like, it's going to be interesting the whole time I'm here alive. Because I can think it can get real dark, but it can get real bright. That's the nature of bipolar. And it can get really light in a healthy way, too. I feel like you can hear my sinus infection clearing up, so I apologize for that. But I wrote 2080 on my wrist because I want to remember that it's going to be until then, and it's never going to stop being that way. And from the moment I was born, I felt emotions. We all have, obviously. Until the day you die, you will feel emotions. And if you don't know how to handle them, if you can't stop yourself in your own emotional spiral of even a small inconvenience or a small emotional turmoil, if you don't know yourself well enough to handle that and to get through it, you're missing out, because you're missing out on the opportunity to, like, cultivate the greatest friendship you've ever had. And that can be with yourself. I think the second big realization that this led to was that the purpose of my life, therefore, the meaning of my life, is to document and study my life, because I am the only one who will ever live all of my life, be with myself for the whole thing. And quite frankly, I think it doesn't matter how many or how, I don't know, how much of an impact you've made on the world. At the end of the day, if you have, like, taken a lot of good from the world, if you've learned a lot and your mind is a home that you are so happy to live in, like, you've won. You've lived a good life if you've learned about yourself. I don't know if that really comes across the way I want it to, but like, what are we going to do about it? Because I I always look back with such compassion at younger me. I know I will at this, especially knowing what I'm going through right now. I don't think, and that's just something I've learned from self-studying via doing this project. I've become conscious of things, aware of things that I wasn't aware of before, patterns in my own thinking, patterns in my reactions that I just I wasn't aware of until I started noticing them. I didn't know until I knew. Eloquent. But documenting your life in some way or another, whether that be through mental practice and it's purely in here, whether it be writing or taking photos, taking videos, not about making sure you can remember all the things that happened, but capturing your journey as a person, your evolution of how you handle the world. Because, God, that's been the most beautiful thing that I've like captured in my 10 plus years of journaling, is how I've handled the world has changed, and I've become so much stronger, and it's so evident throughout all of my writing. But there's also the evidence that I have always been that strong, and I don't even know if strong is the word I want to go with, but like powerful maybe, as I've always just had this little creative thread that I've pulled through all the hard times in my life and just made it happen, like made art happen, made a project happen, made documentation happen, music, like whatever it is, made it happen. Imperfectly, showing up, messy, starting again. And sitting here at the age of 26, knowing that one day I will be sitting here at the age of 56 and hopefully 76, I know that all I will want is to have documented how I felt. Like, I will have wanted to feel the love and the fun and the joy and the friendship and the everything that the world has to offer. But I want to remember the feelings, because at the end of the day, you have to just be able to sit with your feelings in peace and know that you live in your head and you're the only one who ever will. And you can be in great company or you can be in hell. And it does feel like hell sometimes, even if you're in great company. But having that perspective that learning about yourself is the mission and documenting the learning is the thesis, is the creative thread that is pulled through the struggle of life. That's the journey, that's the point. That's the piece de resistance. You don't have to put together a collage at the end and say, look, I did it. When your work speaks for itself. I think throughout a lifetime of prolific documentation of like my deepest, most vulnerable self, I will have built a really beautiful thing that I will be very proud of when I am old in 2080. And if I'm not here, perspective, man, still. It's 2025. And I'm not afraid of 2080 because I know that I will be in good company in the mental house that I have built for myself. Because every single day I make sure I monitor my life and my mental state by journaling. It's a plug for journaling, the whole video. Strawberry of the day, journaling. more on that later.